Hey, welcome to the Dental Practice Insiders conference call or weekly conference call. Today we're live from our new office. It's still under construction, as you can see. We've got some good stuff going, some exciting strategy on the backboard. You probably can read it, maybe you can't. But in any case, today we want to welcome everybody that's on the call. I want to make sure that we get a new shout out to some of our new members that have joined us. Welcome to the Insiders. It's an exciting group. We cover a lot of really cool stuff. Make sure that you go over to the Facebook page and kind of continue the discussion there. But today, just so you know, every week we go through a different topic. And today we're going to talk about the benefits and the dangers of search engine optimization. So I'm sure many of you that are in practice for a long time, you probably had a lot of people approach you saying, hey, I want to do your search engine optimization, or SEO, as everybody knows. And on for quite a few years. Matter of fact, you've probably gotten a lot of calls from people across the seas that want to be able to sell you SEO. And let's be honest, SEO is a very important thing. You need to have it for your practice. But I want to talk today about how you can safeguard yourself from, frankly, some charlatans that are out there that want to put you in a position with your practice that you're just going to pay month after month after month, and you really don't know what they're providing. Excuse me, what they're providing for you. So I've got a couple of quick tips. We're not going to spend a ton of time today. If you do have a question, you can go ahead and enter in the chat, and I'll try to cover it maybe towards the end of the broadcast. But okay. Let's talk about SEO. Let's first define what search engine optimization is. So search engine optimization, in essence, is they take your website and they optimize it so that, excuse me, Google will be able to read the website and be convinced that whatever it is that you're talking about or whatever it is that you're selling, that they are going to provide your website to a searcher. So let's actually look real quick. Let's go to Dentist, Denver, Colorado. So let's do a little screen share here so you can see what I'm talking about. So, okay. So you can see I typed in Dentist, Denver, Colorado. You can kind of see where that's at. So it comes up with the different listings here. We've got Icon Dental, Denver. They got 73 reviews. Nice work. Comfort Dental's not doing quite as well. But essentially, there's all of these different sites, and they're ranked in a different way. And so essentially what happens is that Google decides that they want to they've got someone that comes to them and say, hey, I'm a new person. I just moved into Denver and I need to find a new dentist. And then Google says, well, great. I know a whole bunch of dentists in Denver. Let me show you a couple. And so Google decides they're going to show these, and for whatever reason, matter of fact, let me just show you the difference here. So this one right here is a paid ad, and this may be a review for some of you, I realize, but this is somebody that says, Google, I'm going to give you $2 every time somebody types in Dentist, Denver, Colorado, so that can be number one. So that's what's happening here. Then we have the map listings, and this is based on a couple of different factors, but one of which is where they're actually at. So if I'm on my phone and I'm at Mile High Stadium and I say I need to find a dentist, it's going to show me some really good reviewed dentists and dentists that are close to me. And then these down here are the organic listings. So you can see we've got Yelp. We've got Course in Dentistry, looks like is the top actual practice that's ranking. But these are the ones that search engine optimization is trying to get you higher. So you'll pay a provider, someone to go to their website. So let's just jump onto this guy's website real quick and take a look. Hopefully it'll be a good example. So essentially a search engine optimization will go into the website and they'll optimize these different words, and they'll say, okay, let's make sure we're talking about where we're at, the kind of services we're providing, who the doctors are, blah, 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 blah. Okay, this is a nice looking website. So that lady's got some extremely blue eyes, but essentially that's what search engine optimization is. That's what it does, and that's what these providers are essentially selling to you on a monthly basis, is that they're going to either write a blog, or they're going to optimize a page, or they're going to do all this magical stuff. So which is all very, very, very good. And especially if you're in a very competitive market, this is something that you need to do for your practice. Many of you, I know we've had offline discussions about how you can rank better on the internet, and this is a great example of a way that you can do that. So a few ways that you can make sure that you're safe. So here's a couple of indicators, and let me give you a little bit of background. So I worked in the SEO industry for several years before I just did work with dentists. And so I know the industry inside and out, and I know that there are many, again, charlatans in there that are just wanting to take your money. So I've got, let's see, 4 different tests that you can do. And I would say do this with your existing SEO company. And as you're looking and vetting to hire a new company, make sure that they're providing these things. And if they're not, you know, they're probably not up to snuff. So the first thing that many SEO companies try to do, and frankly, there's a lot of marketing companies that will try to get you into a long-term contract. So oftentimes with dentists, they'll have them sign a year, 2 years, even 3-year contracts that they're going to pay X amount of dollars, excuse me, and the SEO provider is going to be able to generate a certain amount of results. What they do with this is they know that if they sign up a dentist, is probably going to kind of forget about what they're doing, and they're just going to keep paying month after month after month, regardless of if that SEO company is actually providing anything, if they're actually producing any results. That good dentist is probably going to keep paying. And so they look at professional services, dentists, doctors, veterinarians, lawyers, CPAs. They look at those perfect clients because those clients typically aren't super technical, and it's kind of a set it and forget it. And so if you have an SEO company that's looking to do business for your practice and they want you to sign a super long contract, number one, absolutely not. Number two, tell them that you're willing to sign up for several months, and it usually takes, you know, frankly, 2 or 3 months for you to start seeing some progress with the keywords that you're going after. But if they haven't produced the results that you want after 3 months, then you're out of the contract, free and clear. At the latest, longest, 6 months. Now, if they can produce results for you and you're actually getting patients through the door, then by all means, stay with that company. They're doing a great job for you. But if they're trying to lock you in before they've even produced anything for anything longer than 6 months, you know that they're probably not legit, and they're just looking to scam you. So that's the number one thing for you to look out for. The second thing is they don't send you any kind of a monthly report. Either at the very, very least, a Google Analytics report to see if you've got, you know, more traffic going to the website or more people going to the landing pages, or maybe even like a leads report. If they're a really good company, they'll have some kind of tracking number or something on the leads page. And if they haven't provided some kind of report to you every single month to show you their progress, they're probably not legit. The problem is with SEO is there's no barrier to entry. A person can't just decide to be a dentist. They have to go through the schooling and the training and the internship and all those things in order to become a dentist. Whereas for an SEO, there's no barrier of entry. Anybody can just say, hey, I live in my grandma's basement and I drink a 44-ounce Mountain Dew every day, and I do SEO for businesses. That's all they have to do to qualify. So those individuals don't really know how to run a professional business, and so they're not generating a monthly report. So that's sign number 2 that you're maybe in trouble if you're not getting some kind of monthly report from your SEO company. Okay, so the third thing is that they do everything on the back end. And basically what this means is they're doing everything on the technical side of the website. Now, granted, there is work that needs to be done in the code and in the HTML and all these different things on your website that you won't see visibly as you go to your website. That's totally true. But the reality is that should really only last maybe a month or two. And then they should be doing things that are more visible on your website. So again, writing blog posts or doing backlinking or something else that provides that kind of service. Again, if you're not getting a report or some kind of an accountability from that SEO company of what they're doing and where they're doing it and showing you the new content, then they're probably not legit. And so you want to make sure that you're careful of that. So if they ever say, oh, we do all this work, but it's on the back end, I can't really show it to you, know that they're probably not legit. Okay. Thing that I want you to look at is they're not creating any new on-site content. So over the years working with SEO companies, a lot of the bigger companies found out that it was too much work, too much coordination to work with the client to write new content actually on the website. So they kind of invented this back door in that they would generate an off-site website that just talked about their client's website. So that could be a blog, or that could be just a kind of like a sister site or something like that. Now, there is maybe a percentage or a little bit that is a good thing when you have off-site content, but the algorithm that Google has created is smart, and it understands that that's not the way to do it. That's not a legit way to do it. And so you may get away with it for a little while, but Google wants you to have on-site content. Why? Because that's where the users are. That's where the people are at. And that's where they're wanting to provide that kind of information. That's who Google wants to provide. And so understand that if the SEO company is not willing to write blogs or create content or some of those things on your actual website, they're probably not legit, and you're probably overpaying for the services that they're providing. So those are the 4 tests that I want you to really watch out for when you're either hiring an SEO company or you're vetting a company, or frankly, probably the company that you're using right now. You're probably worth to take a look at it and see if that company is actually following those guidelines. So let me just check to see if we have any questions. Okay, we've got a question from an insider that says, what do you do if you're already in a long-term contract? Well, a lot of times I found that the long-term contracts that the SEO companies are put together are just something that they carbon copied off the internet. A lot of times, if you'll document what's going on or what's not happening on your site, and if you approach them and if you're aggressive, typically they'll let you out of that contract. Most of those companies are set up in kind of a turn and burn environment, meaning that they don't expect their clients to stay any longer than a few months. They're going to bleed them off for a couple of months, and then they know they're out of there. And so it's typically not too hard to get outside of the contract. Now, I will say this. You need to be sure that you document the entire process as you're trying to get out of that contract. Every phone call, every email, everything, so that if they decide to play hardball later on, you've got all the documentation. But again, my experience tells me that if they really aren't legit and they're not providing some kind of results, then you should be able to get out of the contract. So hopefully that answers the question. Another question. Is there a benefit to an SEO company being local or out of town? That's a good question. Obviously, for a lot of you that are on the call, you're not in town. You're in a place that probably doesn't have an SEO company, and so you're forced to pick somebody from out of town. But my personal opinion is Google does want you to be as localized as possible. And so if you're Denver, like we were just looking, it probably would be wise to hire a Denver company. Now, the one caveat is I believe it's important that that the providers for the dental practices that I consult with, that they understand dentistry. And I got to be frank, most SEO providers that live in their grandma's basement drinking a 44-ounce Mountain Dew, they don't understand dentistry very well, and so they don't make for good providers. I would say there's very few SEO providers out there, pure SEO providers that understand SEO in a way that you can feel comfortable. I'm not going to give any names at this minute. Maybe I'll do a little bit more research and then shoot that out to everybody. But be very, very, very careful. Make sure they understand your business, or at least your location. And that's why I typically say, if they're not from your town or at least from your state, they probably don't understand the geography, the nuances of what's happening in your actual world. And so they're probably not the best choice. That said, if you feel like you need SEO and you don't have any other choices, then that's what you have to do. But then there's a question of, what about overseas? Then there's certainly a lot of SEO providers, endless SEO providers that are from India, from Pakistan, some of these other places. And they're typically really inexpensive comparatively what you're going to pay here in the States. My opinion is I wouldn't go down that route. Simply because there's too much distance there to really hold any kind of accountability. Now, of course, there are exceptions to the rule. There are companies out there that will that are great reporters, that they do an awesome job, and they're overseas. I would say that's a very, very rare circumstance, though. So be very, very careful in doing that thing. Hopefully that answers your question. If not, shoot me an email and I can go into that a little bit more. That would be a good thing also to throw out into the Facebook group if anybody's got that question, or maybe they have a provider that they have used and really like. So let's see, another question. Okay, so he's asking, is there a difference between SEO and PPC? Answer is yes. So PPC was those ads. Let's see if I still got that up. Let me do a screen share again real quick here. So the PPC, again, was this ad right here. So essentially how that works is you're saying to Google, regardless of who's the closest to that person or how optimized our website is, I'm going to buy my way into top position. And I'm actually really surprised that there's only one dentist. Let's try another area. Let's do Salt Lake City. See if we can get a few more. Yeah, see, there's a couple more ads here. And that's typical. Like you'll have, and essentially these providers are bidding for who's going to be the top position. So maybe this guy's paying $3 and this guy's paying $1.50. Maybe this guy's paying 50 cents. So that kind of gives you an idea of how that works. That's a completely different discussion. So let's save that for another day. We'll go into that a little bit deeper. Pay-per-click is an excellent way to get some good traffic, especially if you're a new practice and you're trying to get people through the door. It's a really, really good way to make an impact. That said, I think there's some better ways to spend your money. We'll go through that and other topics, or you can go back and look at some of the Facebook ad and some of those type of presentations that we made. So it looks like that was the final question. Yeah. So again, as a reminder, this is a weekly call that we do for those of you that are new. You don't have to necessarily attend the call if you don't want. We try to post the topic that we're going to talk about at the beginning of the week, and then we typically have this call on Thursdays. If you can't attend it live, if your practice is still open or whatever, that's okay. You can watch the rebroadcast of this anytime. So with that, I'm Mike Green with Dental Practice Insiders. Thanks for joining us on this call, and we'll see you next time.